Hey guys, and welcome. My name is Brandon Bigham, and this is my fourth and final podcast. Today I'm going to take a little time to give you a complete overview of my research proposal. As most of you already know, my research proposal will involve the massively multiplayer online role-playing game World of Warcraft, which is often referred to as WoW. WoW allows its users to control a character avatar within a persistent game world, exploring the landscape, fighting monsters, performing quests, building skills, and interacting with other players. The game rewards success with in-game money, items, experience, and reputation, all of which in turn allow players to improve their skills and power. Many of the players of WoW will join a guild, which is a group of players who regularly play together in a particularly multiplayer game. This game allows its users to communicate with the other users of the game. By connecting the people with common interest, it essentially can be viewed as a social networking program. WoW is a popular and ever-growing game among all age groups. World of Warcraft is also receiving a lot of attention from the media. I recall a South Park episode that spoofed this game, and also a truck commercial which places a truck in this virtual world. The major goal for this research study is to determine why people play this online role-playing game, and what they expect to obtain from their participation with the game. For this reason, uses and gratifications will work as a theoretical framework for this study. The basic theme of uses and gratifications is the idea that people use the media to get specific gratifications. As we know from Blemler and Katz's uses and gratifications model in 1974, there are 4 types of gratifications: escapism, personal relationships, personal identity, and surveillance. Are participants of World of Warcraft using this game to escape? Are they looking to create personal relationships with the characters? Are they looking to create a part of their own identity within the game? Or are they using this game to understand the world around them? Now that is just a brief overview of the theory of uses and gratifications. For a more in-depth discussion on that theory, please check out podcast number 2. My next goal for this research study is to determine whether the users of World of Warcraft develop a sense of being there in this virtual environment. For this reason, I will be looking at the concept of telepresence. Telepresence is defined as the experience of presence in an environment by the means of a communication medium. This environment could be an animated but non-existent virtual world synthesized by a computer or video game. In other words, to what extent do I feel as if I am this man with a gun in this virtual world? Virtual environments, or virtual worlds, are implemented by a computer that simulates an environment. Some of these environments act under the direct control of individual people. The 2 dimensions of telepresence are vividness and interactivity. Vividness is defined as the way in which an environment presents information to the senses. Interactivity is the extent to which users can participate in modifying the form and content of a mediated environment in real time. A great example of interactivity would be video games. Not only is interactivity a dimension of telepresence, this concept also strengthens the core of the uses and gratification notion of the active user. It does this by defining the degree to which participants in a communication process have control over and can exchange roles in the mutual discourse. For a more in-depth look at telepresence and the dimensions of telepresence, please check out podcast number 3. Because this is a research proposal, my paper will consist of a methods section as well. The 2 methods that I will be using for this proposal are in-depth interviews and personal observations. The in-depth interview will be semi-structured in form. I will have a list of questions, both quantitative and qualitative, that I will be asking each participant. But if I see a need for another question or an opportunity to obtain additional information, I will add questions to that questionnaire. I will use the interviews to determine the gratification sought by the users of World of Warcraft. I believe the personal interviews will allow for more extensive and more accurate answers to why people actually play this game. As I said, the questionnaire will contain both qualitative and quantitative questions. With the qualitative questions, I will look to find the gratifications sought by the participants of this online role-playing game. With the quantitative questions, I will look to gauge the level of telepresence felt by these participants of the game. The questions pertaining to telepresence will more than likely be in Likert scale form. I will ask each participant on a scale of 1 to 7 how much they feel they are actually in this virtual environment. For the personal observations, I will actually sit with the participants while they play World of Warcraft. The personal observations will help me gauge the level of interactivity this online role-playing game requires. It will also help me triangulate my answers of the qualitative questions. The interview participants will be players of this massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Hopefully that provided you guys with a better understanding of my research proposal. Now I'm sure you're just all dying to go out and read the final paper. Before I go, I'd like to thank our wonderful professor for allowing us the freedom to film these podcasts. Even though he's not here tonight to help me film, I gotta thank Scott for all his help on the first 3 podcasts. And lastly, I'd like to thank all my classmates and friends who have been forced to watch these podcasts. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed them as much as I have enjoyed making them. Thank you guys a lot, and I'll see y'all around.